Hey everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to start a new series. I'm going to start doing some Depression era recipes. Maybe some of you might feel that we may be coming back to that soon because the store shelves are empty. I'm finding all kinds of things that either are so high in price or you just can't find right now. So I'm not sure what's going to be happening, but I have the sweetest lady who follows me here on my channel. Her name is Ann. And she's in her 90s. God bless her. She sent me an email and asked me, I think she did a comment and asked me if I'd be interested in some Depression era recipes. She says people these days don't really appreciate these recipes, but back then they were so limited ingredients and things that you could use to bake and even cook with that they had to make do with what they had. So she sent me this recipe. It's for peanut butter bread. She actually emailed it to me. She sat and typed it herself, and she sent it to me. And she says from the 1931, Royal Cookbook Standards. So she also sent me a picture of the cookbook. I'm putting a picture of it up here so you can see what it looks like. She's going to probably send me some more, she said, and I'd love to start doing these because my family is from the hills of Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina on my mom's side. On my dad's side, they were from Pennsylvania, some of them in the Appalachian Mountains. But during the Depression, most of my mom's family didn't know there was a depression going on. They really had nothing. They lived in the mountains, they lived in cabins. My great-grandmother, who Mom always talks about, my Mama Potter, she lived in, I believe it was Pineville, Kentucky. I'm not sure if the mountain had a name, had a cabin up there. She was raised. My great-uncle had her sit down one time, this I treasure, and in her own handwriting, and it's cursive. Nowadays, kids don't even learn cursive. It's what's crazy. But she wrote down all about her life. And there's, how many pages here? 37 pages. And just, some of the things she put in here, it's just amazing. I'm so proud of her. I can't believe people fought and lived this way. And nowadays, we just take it for granted. I'll share bits and pieces with you on that soon. Not right now, but as most of you know, I'm looking to move to Tennessee, set up a homestead. In fact, we were up there week before last, looked at a lot of property, actually found my fifth great-grandfather, William Sparks. He had bought 100 acres now it's the Cookville area, Cookville, for those of you that aren't Southern, we just call it Cookville. But he had 100 acres that he bought, and he donated part of the land to a church and a cemetery, and he's buried in that cemetery. I'm gonna put a picture right here. This is his grave. As far as we can tell, it took us over an hour trying to search the internet records, trying to find out exactly where he was. Finally found his daughter's grave and found out he was so many over from his daughter's grave, and found this and realized this is probably my fifth great grandfather. And he came from North Carolina to homestead in Tennessee, what I want to do and what I'm going to do. So that felt really special to me. And there was this tree, humongous oak tree, and it had to be 100 or so years old. And I thought this tree was growing here when my grandpa owned this land. So I went over and found some acorns on the ground, thought I'll just take these with me and have something that grew here when he was here. And I decided I was going to try to plant a couple of those and see if I could get trees to grow. And I'd have my grandpa's tree, his kids' tree, on my land. So I brought that, put them in a little Ziploc bag, went back to the cabin, rented a little cabin in the woods while I was there. And the next day, 3 of them have already sprouted. So I've got them out back in a container full of topsoil, trying to get them to grow. I think there's like 8 or 9 of them. I'd be just excited as you know what, if those things grow and I can get them and put them on my land. So, but I'm going to get off my stories and I'll get back to Ann's peanut butter bread. So in here I have 2 cups of flour. I'll make sure I got 2 cups. Yes, 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And she says to sift all the ingredients, dry ingredients together. Got a 1/3 cup of white sugar. I'm going to use 4 teaspoons, and that's a half teaspoon. Let's get the right one, Greg. We're going to get 4 teaspoons of baking powder. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to use 1 teaspoon of salt. I don't want to put that in my salt urn, so I'm going to use the ½ teaspoon and just put 2 of those in there. So I don't put flour or baking powder in my salt. And we're going to sift this together. I'm cheating, just using my little strainer. And as you see, we've got what, four ingredients here already, and that's just about all we're going to put. We're going to put some milk and we're going to put some peanut butter in it, and that's all. So I got that sifted down. We'll get rid of these little clumps. And I got stuff everywhere. I hate working in a mess. And I always make them. So, she said after we bring that together, or sift that together, to put the peanut butter in. And it calls for salt or creamy peanut butter. She said her dad loved crunchy peanut butter, and that's what her mom would use. So I will be making this with crunchy peanut butter to see how that goes. Because I like crunchy peanut butter too. So let me get all the peanut butter out of here that I can. Don't want to waste any of that. My finger, my kitchen. Peanut butter, good. So now she said to bring this together. She typed in her little email to me to bring it together kind of like biscuit dough. So as all of you that make biscuits, you want this to look kind of like wet sand, little crumbles. And I'm getting flour everywhere. And I'm not going to use my KitchenAid because they didn't have them back then. During the Depression, they were lucky to have anything. Oops. So I'm just going to bring this together till I got little clumps in here. And we're going to bake it for 1 hour. I've got the oven heating up to 350. Actually says in the recipe in a moderate oven. I love these old recipes because most of the time they didn't have this kind of oven where you set the temperature. They had a wood stove. My grandparents, great-grandparents, they all cooked on wood stoves back in Kentucky and Tennessee. Bell County, Kentucky is where my mom's family's from. I keep saying Tennessee because that's where I realized it's the only great-grandfather, only relative that I found in my family tree that was in Tennessee. So kind of happy about that because that's where I'm headed. Okay, so now we got 1.5 cup of milk. And she said just bring this together till it's smooth. Okay. It smells good. Love that peanut butter. All right, that's coming together real good. Now there are a few clumps in there, so I'm going to cheat and I'm going to use my whisk so I can get them all incorporated. That peanut butter is clumping up a little bit with the flour and staying clumped up. All right, get everything off the bottom. And we're going to get a spatula. I'm going to spray this with cooking spray that has some flour in it. She mentioned they didn't butter their pans or put butter on a lot of things because they didn't have it. They used lard, which I like lard. I grew up on lard. It's about all my grandma Jean had. So we're gonna put this all in here. There we go. Get it all. And yes, I'm using my fingers for those of you that complain. I'm sorry. Not really. But it's the best tool I have in the kitchen. And she said after you get it in the pan, to smooth it out the top, which I just did. And if you notice, I didn't put any eggs in this. A lot of people didn't have eggs back then. So I'm gonna put this in the oven for 1 hour, 350 degrees, and I'll be back when it's done. It'll just be a second for you. Okay, everybody, we're back. I have about 45 seconds, 30 seconds left on the bread. I checked it about 5 minutes ago. I want to make sure it wasn't over browning or getting too dry. Make sure if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please. That does help my channel. The more thumbs up I get, the more YouTube spreads out the video on to other people. So it gets, more people get to see it. I appreciate it. I'm so blessed to have all of you watching. If some of you haven't subscribed yet, you just found my channel, please subscribe, hit the bell button. That way you can get notified each time that I put up a new video. All of these recipes and many, many, many more are on my website. It's just gregs-kitchen.com. If you see any on there that you'd like me to do a video on and show you how to do it, I'll be glad to. It's all done. If you have any videos of your own that you would like me to try, like this one that Dan sent me, I'd love for you to send them to me. You get the bread out. This house smells like peanut butter. Ooh, look at that. That is beautiful. All right. I'm going to let it cool in the pan just for a minute. I don't want to take it out right away. It's nice and firm. Ann did say in her email, let me make sure, she said this bread tastes much better than when it's a day old. Yeah, when it's a day old. It makes delicious sandwiches filled with cream cheese, which no one had back then, or a piece of lettuce and mayo, which no one had either. We ate it just plain because we were lucky just to have a little milk and some butter. Now a lot of times Mom used lard because butter was too much money, but it was still bread and we loved it because it had peanut butter in it. And she also put in here to remember these are old Depression recipes and sometimes people don't like them because they've never had things like this to eat. So keep in mind if doing these videos. I think they're great recipes. I mean, 4 ingredients and I've got peanut butter bread here. So seems like it's nice and loose. I hope. Let me get my other hot pad. Hope I don't regret doing this, but I want you guys to see it. Oh, perfect. Let me move this out of the way, move this over. Gonna burn my hand. Woo. There's the bread. Get this put over here. It does smell good. Let me hold it up so you guys can see it. Nice and browned all the way around. Has a nice top to it. I love it. It smells delicious. I want to cut it, but I'm going to wait and I'll be back when I do cut it and put some butter or something on it because I do want it to cool. I don't want it to fall apart. So I'll be back in just a few seconds. Okay, y'all, I've waited about 10-15 minutes. I got the bread kind of cooled. It's still warm. So we're gonna cut into this. Get my bread knife. Always when you're cutting bread, it's always good to use a serrated knife, a bread knife. If not, just a regular steak knife that's serrated. That way it doesn't jab down in there and smash it. You're actually cutting into it. Doing a sawing motion. I'm going to cut the other side. It's good. I'm telling you, this smells delicious. Put this back up there. Almost looks like a banana nut bread on the inside. Let me clean this up. All these crumbs off here. I'm going to put a little butter on it. As Ann says, it's good with butter. Okay, my first taste of peanut butter bread. That is so soft and moist. I would have thought it'd been more dense. It's nice and moist on the inside. Very good. Not real peanut buttery. You can taste the peanut butter. This is delicious. Y'all give this a try. Follow along. I'm going to do a lot of Depression era recipes. If they're all like this, I mean, why are we wasting money on all those expensive ingredients? They came up with some amazing recipes with what they have. Excuse me for eating with my mouth full. This is delicious. Give it a try. I'll put the recipe down below in the description. I'll also link it to my website where I'll have other Depression era recipes. You can print it out there. Give it a thumbs up. I appreciate y'all joining me in my kitchen. Have a great day and God bless. Bye-bye.